All right, welcome back. I'm ongoing answer a question a long time ago about supervision. I covered all the aspects of me coming through. We have over 90 of these. Not all, the last, I don't know, maybe, 50 of them are supervisory stuff, but answering your questions. You have a question, email me at rsbcopstories@gmail.com. And right now I'm top step. I've been signed to a squad in South Los Angeles. And I want to run over a couple things that my associate here wanted me to make sure I covered it. One was, my lieutenant gave me a sheet where he used to assign numbers to the employees and hand it to me as an administrative tool. You make an arrest, you get half a point with your partner. Next day, you have a different partner, you make an arrest, each you get half a point. End of the month, he adds up the points, he knows who's not working. Okay, I don't know what he's thinking about. If you're not making 25 widgets at the factory, you're not putting out Dell.com computer programming sheets, who knows what he's talking about. So he said, you got to check on this employee. Okay, so I go back within the first few days of all the stuff I have to do that I told you in the last couple of videos, and I did it. I'm doing audits, so one of the audits was to see who's working, just to see from my own view who may not be working, because they already keyed me on one guy, and I thought, why are they telling me about this guy? So we have a big arrest book, so I'm looking down, I'm just noting. Forget that number system he gave me. In fact, he gave me the sheet, I threw it in the trash. That's how bad I was. Okay, felt bad. I felt bad that I made him feel bad, but then again, he's kind of a jerk, so I didn't care. Anyway, so one employee he was telling me about, and in fact, my captain said, I think there's a problem with one of the employees. Well, that's because this lieutenant told him. Come on, man, this is a low-level situation. You don't have to tell everybody about this thing. It's just, what if the employee is maligned? What if it's not a problem? Look at that way. So I'm looking, right? Well, here we go. We worked 4 weeks in the period covered. 4 weeks. 20 days in a week on work weekends. Okay. 2 of the weeks, he was on training away from the division. He did the academy, having in-service training. 1 of the weeks, he was on his assigned vacation. So he only worked one week. And in that week, he made 3 arrests. So actuality, he worked more in that 1 week than he would have the next 2 or 3 weeks. Does that make sense? In other words, what he got, if you look at the point ratio of everybody getting points, you look at it that way, if he had continued on that pace for the 4 weeks, he would have shot everybody out of the water, because he would have been like, 20 points ahead of everybody else. But so he worked. But nobody's looking at the details. They just see the numbers, and you can't use those numbers. Cannot use those numbers. It's ridiculous. So I called the lieutenant back and told him, the guy you were mentioning, and told him I told you. He goes, oh, I didn't know that. That's because you're a number cruncher. You sit around and look at beans and say, oh, there's 3 white ones, there's 3 black ones, there's 3 green ones. You don't know what you're talking about. Okay? Okay, so I kind of gloated about that. Okay. And also, let me tell you something. Let me back up, because there's so much information here as a supervisor. The very first day, after I came back from meeting the lieutenant, I went to lunch. Came back to my station, okay, my office. It's about, 11:30. Nobody's in there. I have 9 assigned to me. Well, actually 8. One guy's off. Nobody's in there. I go, oh. And I was told that these guys we like to go. I told everybody that take your lunch break between 11 and 1, and then 1 o'clock we'll do the warm. So it's like, so everybody's at lunch. And this is the first time in 26 years that I went to lunch alone on the job. Because every time I'd go to lunch, I went with a partner or a group of people. When I worked squads, it was 6 of us went to lunch. And I worked another squad, it was 4 of us. Another squad, there was 8 of us. And then, of course, when I was a uniformed officer, it was my partner. So it was like, my wife reminded me of this. It's like I got in the car and it just hit me that, I think it might have been the second day, that I'm in charge now and nobody's going to eat with me. For a lot of reasons, I understand that. You go eat with the boss, you're a kiss ass, okay? Or the boss picks you to go eat with him. It better be job related, or you're going to be labeled as his boy. And what I had to experience as a younger detective, seeing other guys pick their people, especially right before I made it, and have their favorites. That's one of the things I put in my sponge, negative. I'm never going to do that ever. Ever. Never did. Okay? And so I sat in that car and not too many places to eat. I remember I went to I think I went to a Pizza Hut and ordered one of those little pizzas that sat in the corner of the parking lot, and ate my pizza like, all over my, since you goodbye. I have nobody to eat with, because this is the way it is. I'm in charge now. It's kind of sad, And normally I would have taken, probably I did later on, when my second level supervisor came back from his military leave, we would go to, because we're supervisors, so we go to lunch together. That's different. But all the other subordinates, no. And I don't want anybody to badmouth them for, thinking they're a kiss ass. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Okay. So anyway, so there's the two things I forgot to tell you that's going on here. Okay. So next thing comes up. It's about, I don't know, it's probably into, I'm trying to think of time frame here. Maybe into like, not even, maybe about a week I've been there. I've seen 5 search warrants. I've had a lieutenant come in and try to fire up the troops, which he failed miserably. Got this administrative sheets he's handing me that don't mean anything, so I'm throwing those in the trash. It's like a shark's teeth. He comes down, each time he came down, I forgot to tell you, every time he came down to rally the troops, he called it. I called it screwing us over, but that's 2 different waves there. He handed me one of those sheets. So it's like shark's teeth. He hands me one, he leaves, he come back 2 weeks later, hands me another one. It's like they're coming up, one right after the other like shark's teeth. That's how they say shark's teeth when they fall out, the next one's behind it, right? So it's like he never stopped. He goes, oh, here's another sheet. I looked at last month. Thank you. He turns around. F you. I don't have time for this. This is ridiculous. Again, he's beating the dead horse. You got to watch this employee. I watched him already. He's fine. Get away from me. Okay, so about a week into it, okay, I thought, okay, now I got to have a squad meeting. Now, I didn't like squad meetings just to have a squad meeting, okay? And I found out from the guys when they start telling me slowly, they're starting to tell me things, that the other supervisors would have squad meeting at least twice, maybe 3 times a week. Okay, now come on. When you do a search warrant, I'm getting outside here, you have a briefing, a good 50-minute briefing before the search warrant. Everybody has a sheet, a game plan. You're on that sheet somewhere. You got all these people. You 3, front door. You 2 with a shotgun. You 3 in the back. You 3 fall in line with them. Everybody has their assignments. You tell them why you're there, where you're going, what you plan to get there. And then we have 9 of my people there. We have like 4 or 5 uniforms. So there's 14, 15 people. The last thing my briefer, which is a detective, says is everybody have an assignment. Anybody doesn't understand what they're doing, tell us now, because when we get out there and there's a shooting, we're not going to sit there and go to internal affairs. I didn't know what I was doing here. Wrong. We're briefing you. I'm asking you. And I tell them, I'm asking you. Because if you say, I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, I'm going to tell him, yes, he did. He sat right there, and when I asked him directly if he had a question, he said he didn't. So don't be trying to blame us. You blame him for not listening. Because if there's a shooting, they're going to start asking everyone what they knew and when they knew it. It's not like one of those Nixon things, you really. And so everybody should know their assignments, okay? So we'd have that, and then they'd have a briefing on every warrant every day. And then the other top steps would have squad meetings twice a week. Discuss stuff. Well, what? What they do? They discuss warrants. Well, that's redundancy to the max. You brief for the warrant. You do the warrant. You come back. By the way, you debrief the warrant. Next day, he has a squad meeting to talk about the warrant. Well, why didn't you talk about the warrant when you were talking about the warrant? This all makes sense to you. That makes sense to me. I'm going, we're having too many freaking meetings here. Okay, so I had a squad meeting, and because they're all sitting there looking at me, I go, first of all, I don't like to have squad meetings. We're not going to have any unless it's really important. And boy, they all perked up because they thought, oh, they got a live one here. I said, second, there was a problem here with guys getting days off. Check this out. I've used a whole video on this one. The other top steps will not let any of the guys take a comp time day off, which they earn. Sometimes you work for money, sometimes you work for comp time. These guys had 90, 100 hours of comp time. You take off 8 hours each time you take a day off. They wouldn't let them off, or we're too busy. You got 9 assigned, you got 4 uniforms. You can't let one guy off on a Friday or a Monday, and that was killing these people. They want to take some time off. They have families, they have wives, girlfriends, whatever. So we had a little book there, a little time book, Had that was the official book that I kept for who's working, who's not working. I said, see this book? I said, this is a guide. I'm holding it up. They're looking at me. They don't know what to expect. I said, we can probably afford to have at least 3 people off at any given time. Okay? And I had a couple of senior guys go, let me ask you a question. I said, how many guys do you think we need to do a search warrant? How many do you think we need? He goes, 6. Okay. We have 9 assigned, so that's 3. And they look at each other. They were in shock. So you want to take some days off? Take them. The only reason I won't let you go below 6, I gotta have 6, and they're all nodding. I found out this was their major complaint. They couldn't get time off. What kind of crap is that? You got 14, 16 guys doing a warrant. 1 guy, 2 guys less is not gonna make a difference, but it makes a difference to those guys. They missed their child's graduation. They missed going to the beach. This is crazy, okay? So they're like, whoa, they can believe this. So I said, okay. So I said, you can take off all you want. You want to take a week off? I'll give you a week off. Whoa. They were like in shock, okay? And I said, oh, here's another thing, okay? So I had to be delicate with this, but then again, I'm kind of a rude guy, and I wasn't delicate. I said, Now, let's talk about this lieutenant. And they all look, because they always think that the top step is a company man that's going to defend everything that people do. They got the wrong guy for that, okay? I've always said, you want an honest answer, don't ask me the question, because I'm going to give you an honest answer. You may not like the answer, okay? I go, about this lieutenant. And now I got their attention, because he'd come in there a couple times, and I know he came in there before I got down there, firing him up, motivating him. I use that heavy quotes, okay? I go, I've known the guy since 1973. And they're going, uh-oh. I go, then he was a policeman, marginally okay. Now he's a lieutenant, and he's an ass. And they just started laughing, I said, so do me a favor. If he tells you to do something, just nod your head and go do what you're doing anyway. But let me know that he said something to you. If I miss it, get up, go, okay. And if I'm not there, get up and come and tell me what he did and go back to work. I said, I'm going to shield you from him. I'm going to shield you from incompetence. I'm going to shield you from this idiot coming down here and firing you guys up. I said, we are our squad. I'm in charge. I'm running it. And he can kiss my ass, okay? But I can't tell him that because then he'll go crying to the captain, which he is that kind of a guy. I don't think he has any testicles. And there's 3 ladies in there, and they're just busting up laughing, okay? Thought that was pretty good. Okay, so I kind of hung myself out there a little bit because I figured if one of them calls him and says, hey, this top step's bad-mouthing you, I could be in trouble. But then again, I could not. Because I know this guy has no private parts, okay? Say it softly, okay? So, so the next day, or that afternoon, and then other days, I would take each of my. I had 6 assigned, and 3 loaned. Okay, so each of the 6, I took them each. I told them I was going to do this. I said, I'm going to talk about. I need to talk one-on-one with everybody to find out what your complaints are, and see if I can get this thing going really good. I knew that thing had potential to be a really good squad because of the work they did. It's just that everything else, lieutenant and people coming in, all these outside forces, were just and so I'm going to say, hey, I want you to go with me. I want to talk about you. We're going to have a bitch session, and let's go to lunch. So I'm letting them know that I'm not picking so-and-so because he's going to kiss my ass, that I'm going to go, this is a working lunch. So we went to lunch. Of course, I paid for lunch. Come on. So we went to some place. We went to like a Taco Bell or something. Not Taco Bell, like Pollo Loco, or they had a place called Pollo Inca, which is a kind of supposed to be a Peruvian Pollo Loco. That's pretty good. A little spicy, So anyway, it doesn't matter about the food. So we're talking. He's telling me some things. I'm writing them down. Thank you. He's like, whoa, no one's ever... We're driving back to the office. He goes, boy, no supervisor's ever asked me about that. I said, well, I'm a little different. I want things to be working. That's great. I say, go back in there, evening, pick up another guy. Off we go for an early dinner, like 4:30, 5 o'clock. I'm letting them know that that we are a team. And without a team, we're not going to be able to do this assignment. Okay. And I found out during this that that guy that's in trouble with internal affairs, he's not coming back ever. Okay, so he's done. Okay. So that's fine. So each guy I took to the side, got their complaints, and working lunches and bitches and all that good stuff. Okay, and they had excellent ideas to further our search warrant service. They want to team up certain guys, and that's great. So I teamed them up, because they were denied being able to pick their partners. What? Their idea was, well, they get too cozy, they might conspire something. Really? Well, you can't possibly think you might do this and you might do that. These are adults, and if they do something, they're on their own responsibility. If they start faking stuff and illegally arresting people, they're going to get in trouble eventually. You can't sit in that car with them. I used to tell them that. You can't sit in that back seat and watch them, everything they're doing. It's like nowadays, you can't sit in that black and white and watch officers. You hope that you hire strong people, honest people, law-abiding officers that can do this job, but you can't sit in that car with them. So they're going to hang themselves, So I did that. So boy, the morale just shot up, man. Everybody was having a good time. And then all this is happening. Then my subordinate supervisor comes back, okay? And he heard that when he was gone, because he's talking to people, who's coming down to be in charge. He's asking about who's going to be here. And they told him it was me. Well, he was an Army Reserve, obviously, and I'm an ex-Marine. And he told me that I went, oh my gosh, I'm getting a military guy. He got all excited. And so we met. He was back. Hey, I don't know him. I heard of him, but I don't know him personally. Hey, let's go to lunch. Okay, so I took him to lunch. We started talking, and man, you could see a look on his face, man, because he had to work for all these temporary top steps that were so rigid that he wasn't able to supervise anything because they just this and this. Well, come on, man, He thought, and I told him what I told my troops about days off. He goes, wow. I said, yeah, this is ridiculous. I said, I told him that he's my mouthpiece, but this is what I want. I said, it's my squad now. So We're going to do it this way. You're going to do what I want you to do. He goes, oh, I'll do whatever you want, man. This is great. I said, this is going to be great. We're going to have a good squad. We're not going to have a good squad. We're going to have a great squad. Okay. I mean, I had really good aspirations of watching these guys work. Work is about 95% of the danger and the problem is work. Because guys have personal issues. Guys are humans. You can have guys shooting when they're not supposed to. You have guys beating people. But they were doing that thing, I mean, textbook. So really the only 5% or so left over was the administrative bean counting idiots that would come down and try to disrupt stuff. And I didn't want that. I physically at times stepped between them, believe it or not, later on, to stop this. And they look at me like, what are you doing? Well, I'm telling you what I'm doing. Stripes and hash marks. Okay. You can do that when you have a little bit of clout. Anyway, so that's the end of this segment, and I'll come back in a few minutes for some more. Okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.